Welcome to the next project. You know, I started this project. Okay? I already had it running, everything. And I said, you know, I'm stopping. I gotta go get the camera. I gotta show you guys because I just keep working and working and working. You guys won't know anything. And you'll be like, well, what's that? Well, what's that? When did you do that? My car didn't have that. This is what we got. We are putting gauges in the car. I got my headlamp, we can show you. Now some W123 enthusiasts might be a little upset what I'm doing here, but I'm gonna warn you, there was no wood harmed in the making of this film. It was all already shot from water damage. Alright, so I'm in it. Alright, we got this center console area ripped out. Here is the existing wood paneling. You can see all the veneer. I don't know if it's the veneer or just the clear, but regardless, it's all coming up. It's all cracked. I mean, it's in poor shape, okay? What I do is I took the ashtray out, okay? And there was this piece was in there and screwed into the back plastic. Well, that back plastic was right here, and it had one hole, but I needed a bigger area for the gauges to stick in there. So this is where I'm putting the gauges. Those buzz tools, bzzz, I forget what they're called. I have a Harbor Freight one with only one bit in it. But anyway, I took one of those buzz tools that just vibrates and cuts. They're like, people use them to cut outlets out now. But anyway, that's what I did. I cut this out right here, so now I have a little bit more clearance. I'm gonna do a piece of wood in here, 2 gauges, and a cigarette lighter, because the cigarette lighter in the ashtray was like a bigger diameter. It wouldn't work with American stuff, I don't know. So I took everything apart, and these were the 2 ground and hot for the cigarette lighter, and they just so happened to fit in my new blue C1 that I bought. So don't let those touch when the car's on. It has to have ignition on, by the way. Then I took and found that this is a little light that lights up this instrument lamps when you have your headlights on. So I grabbed ground and I grabbed power from right here. They're both green, but don't mind that. And I got my wires up in here and they're ready. And they're just shoved back in there when I was cutting. So this is all ready to go. So then I got the table saw out. You never think you'd be doing woodworking for a car, or at least I never did. So this is where I'm at. So here's the ashtray, right? I'm essentially replacing the ashtray, but instead of using this depth here, I'm gonna sell this because that's actually in pretty good shape. There's a crack here, but it's in pretty good shape. So here's the piece that I use. This is oak that I actually salvaged from industrial pallets. They're like essentially green wood that are like 2x6s. So I cut it all down, and I don't have a planer, so I ripped it on the table saw. It's dangerous. But I got this. This is about 3/8 wide. So anyway, this is how it's going to be. It's going to be something along the lines like this. And with the gauges. And then this is going to be, I guess I thought it was going to be on the top, but you know what? It's not. It's going to be like that. Get crazy with the hole saws and see what I can do here. But I can tell you one thing. It might split this wood. This is dangerous.
What are we working on?
I'm drilling a hole in here with a hole saw, but I'm thinking it's gonna crack it. Let's find out. So I only had a 2-inch hole saw, and these are 2 1/16 inch gauges. So I had to run a 2-inch hole saw, and then I took a drum sanding wheel on a Dremel to get it where it slides in there all the way, which it does. I thought I could just hand sand it, but it was taking forever. So this is what we have so far. This is what was there, and we're just eyeballing everything here. I got that. I just marked this on here like this, and we're just gonna say that it's right about there. This is an awl. What's that on there? That looks about right. And we're just gonna drill it. So there you go. And here's the piece. Slides in there like that. So I have the piece marked. I also sanded it down, and I need to drill for the screws. So the mounting is going to be a little precarious. I kind of have to go in on an angle to grab the plastic there. So we're just going to use these number 6 by 3/4 inch long screws, and I have a drill bit that's just a little bit bigger in diameter for there, so that we can make this work. But I'm going to drill it on an angle like that. You'll see. So the holes are drilled, but I need to countersink them a little bit because you can see they stick up. So I'm going to countersink on that angle. I have the countersink right there. It is. That's pretty much it. I'm just going to stain it. And we got it fit up. That's nice. It all fit exactly how I wanted it. It's like I said, they're on an angle and there is not much meat to grab, but it did work. It looks very dark, but that's the way it goes. I'm going to stir this really well. Have the stain on there. I'm going to wait 15 minutes and then wipe it off. While we wait another minute, I found this old receipt in the car, in the Mercedes, underneath the like center console when I was taking it apart. November 7th, 1986. It says it's an H6 Hills store. You always do better at Hills. Happy Thanksgiving. I don't know exactly. It says store number 93. I don't know where that is, but really cool. The car was, you know, we were looking at this. Potatoes are $2. It's just, you know, it's crazy. It's crazy how much cheaper stuff was. It's wild. Bar soap was like or what, I don't know, soap, and tomatoes are 33 cents, and Ivory soap's $1.11. Loin strip $3.41. It's crazy. But yeah, this guy got his whole weekly grocery list here, and it was $77.80 total. And he's got tons of stuff on here. Tylenol, Robitussin. I mean, $2 for Robitussin. Crazy. But a little history with the car. The car was only 3 years old when this receipt was lost in there. That's wild. I wasn't even born. Alright, we're pretty much ready here. We're going to wipe this down. You got to get yourself a nice Hanes sock here. That's what you need. I'm going to try and do this with one hand for a little bit, and then I'm going to do it with 2 hands afterwards, just to show you guys. It looks pretty nice. I don't know if the white balance will do its justice, but there you go. There's the comparison. I mean, it's oak versus whatever this veneer is different, so it's gonna look different because of the grain, but let me do it on the other one too. Okay, here's normal white balance. So there you go. It's pretty close. It's gonna be close enough. Once the clear is on there, it's gonna look good. Sun tea. So we're in the house because it's cold outside. We're going to finish this off, and here's the dried. I'm going to get a good look at that. There's the dried product after one coat of stain. So that's how we're going to leave it. And right now I'm just going to lightly scuff it with 320. There you go. That's how it's wiped off. This is clear gloss polyurethane, high gloss, I think it is. Just doing all the edges, getting inside of the bolt holes or screw holes, countersinks. Jen would have done such a better job than me. I'm not good at this. Here is an update on what we got going on here. What are you doing, Stank? What are you doing? Huh? What are you doing? Good cat. So I got the gauges in, and I have the panel in and all that, as you can see, with my 12-volt adapter. And we have boost pressure and we have fuel pressure. I just ran nylon 1/8" nylon tubing for both of them. It's really tight back there, so the fuel pressure gauge in particular, I'm waiting on hydraulic fittings to right behind the gauge. I'll show that. So here's the back side of the gauges. This is the boost gauge, 12 volt cigarette lighter, and then the fuel pressure gauge. And I had to get a fitting here, which is a -4 JIC elbow to an 1/8" MPT, so that it would fit in there when I put it all in there, and it's still really tight. So I had to wait for that fitting, and then I got a union here with 1/8" MPT to a 1/8" compression nylon. Those are the two power and ground for the 12 volt adapter. I just hooked this up. We're gonna leave this actually out like this when I hook the fuel pressure up to see if it leaks. For now, this is, you know, the gauge face is there. They're all lit. They'll light up, and the boost pressure does work. That's done. So as far as the gauge side of it, the boost pressure, like I said, here's the 1/8" nylon tubing. Here, this is going to be the fuel pressure. This is the boost pressure. That goes into the ALDA right here, which is this portion, which is connected to the injection pump, and this gets boost right here. The ALDA gets boost from the passenger side intake manifold over there for where the pressure is. So then when this thing sees boost, it changes how the injection pump fuels it. So what I did was I took a vacuum tee from this car. It was, you know, same style car I got from the junkyard, and I teed into it for the boost gauge. And I had to use these little squeezy hose clamp deals because they're popping out without a little hose clamp. So that's what I got going on there, and that works. And we're pulling like 15 pounds of boost actually, which is kind of high, I guess, for this car from what I read. But anyway, now fuel pressure. This is the fuel filter housing. This is the injection pump. The fuel goes into the lift pump down here and then gets pumped up into the fuel filter housing again, and then it goes in, it goes out of the fuel filter housing and then down into the injection pump right here. And that's the fuel feed for the injection pump. There was a hard plastic line, just like this one right here, from here to here. I took that off, and it's 1/4 inch fuel line. I used Gates, I think it's 4219 XL. That's the fuel hose that I used, and I got good hose clamps here, and I got a brass tee with 1/4 inch barbs going into it, and then I teed it off here, and then this, I'm waiting on these fittings. Oh, hi Sherman. This is where I'll hook the fuel pressure gauge into. I just gotta wait for the fittings. But how you doing, Sherman? We'll just do just a little bit of an update here. What I did was I bought a new tachometer. What are these they call these things something, I forget, amplifier or something. This unit right here is its own thing off of eBay, and I bought a new one of these, and it only works for a few. It doesn't work for all the W123 years, but it does work for this year. This is a 1983. That thing was like $80. It's a little expensive, but hey, the tachometer works flawlessly now, and I shouldn't have to worry about it in the future, because those things are known for going bad. Mine intermittently worked. I got one from the junkyard. It intermittently worked. Look at Sherman. It's crazy. So then the other thing that I just did was the mono valve is another very common problem with these cars, and what that does is it's a valve that I think it's electronically controlled, and it's like a you know, I don't know how the valve actually works, but I never took it apart. But from what I understand, there's the car has automatic climate control, so it'll open and close that valve at very precise times, whatever. I don't know. All I know is the heat would only get warm. So the coolant would go through this black hose, go through the mono valve and out and into something else. So then what I do is I bypassed it. I just ran this red heater hose directly from the 12 volt pump, which pumps the water, and then I have a gate valve right here, okay? and it's all brass. And then what I did was, and it's one of the gate valves that has full flow. And then what I'll do in the winter time is I'll just open the gate valve, which is open now, and then I'll close it in the summertime, and it's full heat. So we're gonna test that. But and this is good heater hose here. I hooked the heater hose there right into where the output or whatever, where the other side of this heat thing went. So that's what I got. Another thing, got a new battery. Made some homemade battery hold downs with stainless washers. I just bent them and got the right type of lock nuts. That battery just barely squeaks in there, but it's a brand new battery. It's a second, but it's a blemished battery, but it's okay. It's a good battery. And with all these cold starts, having to turn the car over a ton in the winter, it taxed the battery bad. So there's a long overdue small update with this car. I drive it every day, so it's 80 miles a day. So this car, you know, I just got to keep it rolling. So a lot of these little things I do is just, you know, after work or whatever, but it's getting me to work. I get about 23 to 24 miles to the gallon roughly in the winter time, and I get about 26 to 28 miles to the gallon in the summertime. Stay tuned to the next video. We're gonna have something. I don't know what it's gonna be, but stay tuned because there'll be another one.